Hi guys, and welcome to this week's Salon CEO episode. Thank you for joining. So today I'm going to talk about business blocks. So do you put up business blocks in your business? And when I say this is talking from experience. So years ago when we were ridiculously busy, like so busy, example, people would message and they'd say, okay, well, can I come and like get my hair done? Yep, okay, cool. You have to pay like obviously a consultation fee. You then need to obviously come in before. We need to look at your hair. We obviously then need to, like, if you've got any extensions in, they need to be out. Everything we do is so tailored. So we always be like, okay, you need to do this. So people used to go for a bit of a process. Now, I think this really come around because we were so busy at the time. And yes, obviously we want to do a great job and it's so particular. But was that, when I look back now, thinking, okay, was I actually putting up blocks for clients? So when I stepped back into the business in 2023, after having my little girl, I was like, no, we need to take these blocks down. So it's actually crazy because I think like when I do look back, we probably did put up like hoops really for people to jump through and be like, no, you need to do this, you need to do this. And actually, when you get to that point and you think, you look back and you think, oh, that person never booked in. Oh, did that person never booked in? Why? They messaged, they never booked in. And when you look at obviously rates of like conversion, like from obviously going from a consultation through to booking or a message to obviously even a consultation, things started to drop and I was like, why is this happening? Because we were putting up blocks for clients. So if you do this in your business, you might not even be aware you're doing this in your business. Even another example, deposits. So if you take deposits in your business, I've always taken deposits. We've done it for years now. You get an appointment, you get that appointment when the deposit is paid, that is your slot. So this is a very different subject in the industry. What do you do if someone cancels? So if they were a real regular and they come, let's say every 4 weeks, every 6 weeks, every 8 weeks, and they cancelled, within your cancellation policy, would you take that cancellation policy, as in like you take the money off them, or would you let it slide? So this is something I've always gone by per person. So if it's a real regular and you know that obviously they don't ever do that or something really genuinely has come up, would you take that money from them or would you say, no, it's okay, we'll just keep it on for next time? Personally, I would obviously keep it, I wouldn't keep the money and obviously they'd let them roll it onto their next appointment. But I'd love to know, obviously, what would you guys do? I know some people would obviously keep the full money or they'd ask for the rest of the amount of the appointment or they would obviously just lose the deposit. I do really feel like this is such a tricky subject in the sense of who would you let it have it or who would you not? For me, if it was a real good regular, then obviously I would never say to them, no, you lost your deposit, because I feel like regulars are your golden clients. So when I say golden clients, these are the people that over the years, something I've always done is, when you come into the salon, I've always made sure that everyone knows your name. You're never just going to walk in and think, oh, I don't know who I'm talking to. Like, as soon as you walk in that door, I'm going to know your name and I'm going to know what you're in for. It's always been like that. I think experiences in my business is when I've gone into maybe other salons, and I'll never ever forget actually a story when I first moved to Colchester and I put my CV in all these different salons, and I'll never ever forget being stood there and literally just at the reception desk, like no one, like it was if I was invisible. It was crazy. And I was like, I would never ever want to make someone feel like that in my salon. So that's kind of something I've always done with as well. Like when we look at different things in keeping, not even keeping clients, but doing things for your clients, as in like, working, okay, well, if you can't maybe obviously make an appointment or you can't get them in, then it's even just the wording that you speak to your clients. Okay, well, let me see what I can do. Even if you can't do it, that client will always appreciate that you've seen if you can do it for them, and if you can't, that's absolutely fine. I feel like these days, obviously, I am someone, if I have my person, I have my person and I'm with them for a long time, but not everybody is like that. I say actually tell lies. I say I'm like that, but when it comes to my nails, I'm not like that. So I'll give you like an example. So funny enough, it's actually today I went to the nail shop. And my normal nail shop, I always go there and I was tight on time, so they were like, oh, okay, we can't get you in for however long. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll just go somewhere else. So I went to another one, which actually a friend recommended before. So I was like, oh, I'll go over there. Anyway, so when I went there and I had like, obviously I'm awful with nails. I literally had like a few back, like a few on still. So he was obviously shaving, like taking them off and was like, oh, does that hurt? Is that okay? And I was like, oh, okay. I don't normally get asked that at my old shop. They kind of just, go for it. And I was like, oh, no, it's fine. But that made me think straight away, you're actually caring about my nails more than obviously maybe the place I'd been before. So I'm thinking, okay, I might come back here because I feel like they're gonna do like a good job. They're gonna look after me. Even just saying things like that to your clients and just going a little bit further is always such a good thing. Like in the past, we've always had like snack trolleys, like we've always done, big transformations. So people the people are in there for hours. So I'm gonna, have crisps and chocolate. And, there was always things like years ago when at Christmas, like I would always have a massive Christmas box in the salon, and I would work out obviously how many clients we had, and then we'd had like a bit of a lucky dip in the salon, and that little things like that for your clients, they're gonna remember. Like my lash girl, bless her, like she always does like a brownie at Christmas, and you kind of just remember those things. And I feel like sometimes when we're looking at clients or we're looking at how to keep them as well as gain them, it's always so good to just think, okay, well, how do I treat my clients? What's going to make me a little bit different over, the salon over the road. So, I feel like sometimes the little things that you do for your clients really, really shows, and people will stay with you for that. And, they'll appreciate that because at the end of the day, they are the ones that you want to keep. They're going to be the people that are going to be your audience, and, they're going to be the ones that are always going to keep you going. So yeah, I feel like it's, so important that are putting up blocks, you don't even realize. So maybe have a little look at your business and think, okay, well, I've got to this level, but how can I go further? What is it maybe you're doing or putting in place that might be stopping that situation? So I don't know if anyone else does this, but I kind of do it every like quarterly. Is I'll look over like a view of the business and I'll be like, okay, so what have we got in this month? What have we had in the last however months, like 3-4 months? Going forward, what do we need to look at? What do we need to work on? Do we need to change things up? What is, who are we talking to? Are we changing directions in anything? I feel like sometimes it comes back to things like, do people know? Like when we look at our businesses, it's so hard to be critical of yourself and think, okay, have I got this? Have I got that? Like, is there anything more I can do? Do I need like paperwork? So I always say to my students all the time, like paperwork is so important in your business. Like I feel like people don't really realize. So I've spoken about before, like how I've been like sued twice. So people, since obviously saying that in an episode, people have obviously asked me about it. And, when someone threatens to sue you, it is probably one of the most scariest and most anxious things that it can give you. And I know people before who have obviously had situations like this and have given up because they are so scared. They think obviously their livelihood is going to be taken away from them. So this is obviously my own experience that I'm going to talk about. I'm not a solicitor. Luckily, one of my good friends is a solicitor, so she's always there to help. But if this can help anyone, take a little bit of like confidence away if someone throws something at them, then, hopefully this story will obviously be able to help you guys. So this was probably back in 21. Funny enough, I had both of these when I was pregnant, which was not ideal, but never mind, we move. So the first one was a girl who'd come in and she'd had like 2 different shades of hair. Now, anyone that does extensions knows that with some hair extensions, if you go abroad or you use sunscreen, they can turn pinky. So this girl would come in and obviously she had her hair fitted, went away for a week, and then she messaged and said, oh, my hair's like turned pink. I was like, oh, okay, come back in, let me see what we can do. So if I ever get a complaint come in, personally, what I don't do, I don't let it ever escalate over message. So always get that person, if you can, to come back in straight away, because what happens then is you want to sort it out for them ASAP. You want to obviously, make sure that they're okay and that they're happy as much as obviously the next person. So I'll always get someone back in straight away. I'll be very brief over message. Okay, no worries, babe, come back in straight away. So this client had come in and I said, okay, what we can do is we can put Malibu salts on the hair. If anyone knows about Malibu salts, this is something that obviously gets out any like pinky, like orangey undertones, which can obviously predominantly happen from sunscreen, like hard water, etc. So what had happened with this client, she come in, we've done that and it wasn't working. So I was like, okay, she had two different colours in her hair. So I was like, right, what I'll do is I had a spare like bit of weave. I'll pop that in for now until I can obviously go back to the supplier, see what's happened and then go from there. Later on that day, she obviously wasn't happy. She'd obviously asked for a full refund back of her hair. And I was like, okay, so there's one thing that I've always made very clear. And since then, and will make it very clear to my students who train with me, that you are not liable for the hair. So yes, you use a hair extension brand, but you are not liable for that hair. You didn't make that hair. You are liable for the fitting. So, if someone comes back to you with bald patches or like tension spots or whatever, that is down to you. If someone comes back to you with faulty hair extensions, or they're not happy with them, that is a manufacturer's fault. I just thought I'd get that really clear because I do feel like people get scared into this and think, oh my God, I need to, pay X amount of money back to this person. You don't need to do that. So anyway, with this certain person, she done a small claims via post and then it'd come through. And because it was my first one, I was like, oh my God, I'm so worried. I can't deal with this. I'm pregnant. What I'm going to do is I'm gonna pay her back the money. So that was the first one. Paid her back the money. Okay, that's fine. Done and dusted. However, X amount of years I've been going in business, never had anything like this before. I'm just gonna pay back the money. 2 months later, 2 months later, someone who'd had hair from me, again, hair extensions, I'm gonna say it was like maybe 6 to 8 months before. 6 to 8 months before this, they had been on holiday. So if anyone knows, obviously in your aftercare that you give to your clients, or you obviously wear extensions yourselves, that in your aftercare, obviously you're not allowed, you can't get your hair wet. Like it just goes against it. Obviously, the chlorine's not great for extensions. It's gonna ruin the extensions. So this client had been on holiday, had paid someone in, I think it was Spain she was in, to remove her extensions, and that she wanted all the money back for her extensions. So at this point I thought, okay, I've not been given the chance to rectify this. I've not seen this person. I've not seen the hair. I've seen nothing, but they've just put in a small claims court. So this is really hard on our jobs because in this situation, it doesn't cost them a lot of money to do this. And obviously it's such a a worrying process that people get scared into paying out like I did first time before even going through the process. So but this person, I was like, no. I am gonna fight this because I was like, where does this end? Where does this end? If someone's not happy, they're gonna put in like a £35 like money claim basically, and then I'm gonna have to pay it. So I was like, no, I'm actually gonna see this through. And I feel like I'm so glad that I did see this through because I've relayed this story to so many people that I speak to, and I hope it gives clarity to anyone that when people or clients do say this, like say, oh, I'm gonna, take things further or further action or whatever, it is not a quick process. They think they're gonna get their money back instantly. It is not a quick process. It's actually about a year or more's process. So I think that is such a good thing. First of all, to know that obviously, they can't just get their money back straight away, with which a lot of people do think that. So then basically what happens is they obviously put their evidence in, you put your evidence in. So of either messages or whatever the communication has been, you submit that. And then what happens that it basically goes to mediation. So mediation, this is over the phone, it's not in person. You mediate, obviously you speak to someone from the court, they then obviously speak to them, and then they obviously try and come up with a resolution for you both. When this happened with this client, obviously I spoke to like the person on my end, and then they didn't actually have their phone call. So I was like, okay, that's fine, obviously can't resolve anything. Then another, I think it was like another 8 months passed, or 6 months passed, another 6 months passed, and then I got another letter from the court to basically say if this person wants to carry on this claim, they have to then pay again. So they had to pay again and to actually take me to court this time. So if I hadn't heard by a certain date, or they hadn't heard by a certain date, then obviously it wouldn't have it basically just went away. So the thing I'm trying to obviously say to you guys, that if you do get this situation, I know it's horrible and I know it's stressful, but it's, I think half the time it's because people think they're going to get their money back straight away, and it really is not a quick process. So if I can relay that and help anyone in that situation, then obviously my DMs are always open. If anyone wants to message me if they've got any like problems, obviously I'm not a solicitor, but if I can go off anything that in my experience, then obviously I hope to help obviously anyone else in the same situation. So yeah, I feel like it's something that in the industry again is quite worrying, and probably has made people quit over time and think, oh my God, I can't do this, like it's just too much. But you know, knowing that you do a good job and you provide a good service, and when you have this situation, you need to remember that. You need to remember that you have done a great job, and you've provided a good service. And if someone isn't happy, then obviously you're going to you're going to sort it for them straight away. But there'll always be this sort of situation that will come up, and it's always good to just have an idea like what might happen. So I do feel like one thing that I've always done when I've worked with my clients is I've always been honest. If I don't think something's going to work, or even if I'm not sure I can do it, I'm going to tell my clients. So if anyone is newly trained, or you've been doing it a while, and someone comes to you and says, fine example for me, someone's going to come to me with black hair and they want silver extensions put in, I am not going to do it, because I don't do that kind of hair. Someone says to me, I want to like have like unicorn colored like pinky hair. Oh, it's just not my vibe. So, it's kind of those things that you can say no to people as well, and don't be like scared about that, or just be honest and say, look, that isn't my thing. Like my thing's always been like creating beautiful, like seamless, like natural, like looking extensions. I've never liked to do like real big, like colorful like hair. It's just not my vibes. And I do feel like obviously you attract those people that you're putting out for, you attract them back. So yeah, I always just think as well, like, be honest with someone, go through the process of being like, actually, no, I do feel like that would work. No, I don't think that's going to work. Because in the long run, it will help you so much, and avoid obviously any situations that maybe you weren't fully confident in something and it's not worked out. So if it ever led down like a bad way, then you know that you've obviously said your piece and you've been honest, even with things of like different like consultation forms, or if I'll always write as much detail as I can on them forms as well, just to make sure that each person, especially when it comes to colors, like you kind of have an idea and you have the same path as your client, that what you're going for. Again, that is so important. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. Again, if you have any like situations or like problems, or you're worried about something in this sort of situation, then please, my DMs are always open. But yeah, anyways, and I hope you guys have a lovely week, and I'll see you in the next episode.